Welcome to Face the Analyst. I am your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have with me today Rick Van Nieuwenhuyse. He's the president and CEO of NovaGold Resources Inc. NovaGold Resources Inc. trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol NG. It also trades on the Toronto Exchange under that same symbol. There's approximately 226 million shares outstanding, fully diluted 287 million. Stocks recently selling at about $13.5, which gives it a market cap in excess of $3 billion. Welcome, Rick, to Face the Analyst.
Jay, good to see you again.
You have two world-class projects, the Donlin Creek project, which is a gold project in Alaska, and then you have the Galore Creek project, which is a copper-gold project in British Columbia. As I understand it, the Galore Creek project is really the most advanced, will probably be the first project of those two that will go into production. It's 50% joint ventured with Teck Cominco, I believe. Talk to us a little bit about the Galore Creek project, the economics of it, when you might get into production.
Oh, Jay, we're just finishing a pre-feasibility study on Galore this year. Actually, Teck is still earning its interest in the project, and so they'll wrap that up this year. And then we'll go towards a feasibility study and permitting, and then we'll also start completion of the road access into the project area. One of the advantages of working in Canada and British Columbia specifically is you can concurrently construct roads and things like this, access to your property, while you're permitting and while you're completing a feasibility study. Mm-hmm. It's a little different in the United States. We'll talk about Donlin Creek and why that project will be a couple of years later. Okay. But it's actually nice because they're kind of back to back. Mm-hmm. They are two big, huge world-class projects, and we've certainly got great partners in Teck and Barrick, so we think we're in a good spot this year.
You really do. Now, could you talk to us a little bit about the economics? I know the economics are always changing for these major projects because everything changes, really. The prices, the cost of commodities, and the capital costs and so forth are always changing. But you are doing an updated, I think, feasibility study on Galore Creek?
No, on Donlin Creek.
On Donlin Creek, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Galore Creek. Let's stick with that now. What do you expect? What do the economics look like there? How much copper, how much gold will you produce there, and how soon?
Well, the pre-feasibility study will define the economics in a fashion that I can then talk to them from. But we're expecting it's a large capital. It's a big project. It's a 95,000 ton a day mill. You'll probably be producing on the order of 200,000 tons of copper annually, and 400,000 ounces of gold, and about 5 million ounces of silver. So it's a very, very large-scale project. Capital costs, we're expecting it'll be in the $4 billion area. Range. So $2 billion for NovaGold's share. Again, these are big projects, big metal production.
Can you give us a sense of what the cost per? So you're looking at this mostly as a copper project with gold credits.
It's 65% in terms of metal content. 65% copper and about 25 gold, 10 silver. So that's pretty much the metal ratio. I can't really give you any specific guidance on cost at this point. Yeah. That's of course what the pre-feasibility study will give us. Mm-hmm. And we'll have that finished in May, June of this year, and then we'll go right away and initiate the feasibility study and the permitting.
Well, so much of the economics, of course, will depend on the metals prices, and right now we're sitting with, I don't know, recently copper's been $4 a pound, gold has been over $1,400 an ounce. What's your view? You have to take a view on these metals, obviously. You must have some sense. What are your thoughts about both copper and gold going forward?
These are long life projects. Both of these are 25-year mine lives. We will take a conservative view on metal prices. I think that's the prudent thing to do when you're looking at investing several $1 billion. I think we'll use somewhere in the range of $2.25 copper and probably $1,000 gold. That's our view right now. And it's a conservative view. I think being conservative at this point is a very good idea.
It makes a lot of sense to do that. So what's your best guess in terms of timing for production, to get into production?
Our timing is for Galore Creek, 2 years to complete the road, the feasibility and the permitting, and then 3 to 3.5, 4 years to complete the project itself, to construct. So you're producing metal in 2017.
And what is your guess in terms of the amount of copper and gold that will be produced from
That's about 200,000 tons of copper annually, and then 300,000 to 400,000 ounces of gold, 4 or 5 million ounces of silver.
Okay, so I know you've had a long-term corporate goal of getting to 1 million ounce a year producer of gold. Yeah. So obviously Donlin Creek is the major component of reaching that goal. Talk to us a little bit about Donlin Creek and your world-class partner, Barrick Gold. What's the time horizon there for getting that into production?
Yeah, this year we're updating a feasibility study, and it may sound a bit counterintuitive that we're doing a pre-feas on Galore and a feasibility on Donlin. But in fact, the permitting process in the U.S. is longer, so that's why Galore will be first and Donlin will be second. But we'll get that feasibility study update done later this year, probably in June, July. And basically that will take a new look at the project using a different source of fuel, liquid natural gas, LNG, versus diesel. We think that'll bring the cost down in terms of our operating cost per ounce. We think it might add a little bit of capital net to the project, but we think the operating costs will be a net benefit, and it's a much simpler project logistically. From an environmental standpoint, it's a much cleaner project. Gas is a much cleaner fuel than diesel, both from air quality emissions and from a CO2 standpoint. So net, we think it's a much stronger project. And from there, then it'll take 3 years, we expect, to permit the project. The NEPA process in the United States is a long process. And then 3 to 4 years to build the project. So we're probably 2018, 2019 to full-on production.
Okay.
We're producing metal at about 1.5 million ounces of gold a year for the first 5-6 years, and then you're producing 1.3 for the 25-year mine life. Plus, there's lots of exploration upside. We know that.
So if you add the two together, Donlin Creek and Galore Creek, it gets you over that, assuming those levels of production are achieved. Yeah,
and we expect, because you have Galore producing copper and silver, you'll net the cost of producing those, or the revenues from those, against the cost of producing ounces of gold. So when you put the two projects together, you're producing 1 million ounces of gold for 25 years with very, very low cash costs. And certainly in today's metal price environment, you're producing gold for probably a negative cash cost.
Yeah, it's because of the large copper and I guess silver component in Galore Creek
metals. That's
will be used as byproduct. I mean, if you view it that way, even though Galore Creek is more of a copper project, I think you said 65%.
Yeah.
So what is the time horizon then on Donlin Creek? I mean, I know these things there can be slippage. It's always difficult to know for sure, but what is the time horizon then for Donlin?
We'll finish the feasibility study this summer, so June, July, and we'll initiate the permitting process later in the year, probably November. And then we expect that to take 2 to 3 years. So let's take the outside number, 3 years, and then another 3.5 years to build it. So you're 2018, 2019 to full-on production. So it's going to take time for these big projects. But we're bullish on gold in the long term, so we think that's time's working with us in our favor this time.
Well, it certainly is a little different than when you and I first met back in 2002 or whenever it was. Have you had some interest from the Chinese? Have been looking around to find gold and other metal projects. Have you heard anything from those people?
We certainly have a lot of expressions of interest from Chinese smelters, particularly in the Galore project and the smelter concentrate there. This is a very high quality concentrate, 28 to 30% copper plus the gold and silver. It's the only impurities it has in it. So it's certainly something we expect to be perhaps shipped to China, ship the concentrate to China, to Shanghai, but there's other markets for it as well: Korea, Japan, India. So it's a good problem to have.
It sure is. Rick, you have, as I mentioned, 226 million shares outstanding. You're going to have come up with a fair amount of capital, roughly $2 billion on each of these projects, I believe you said. How do you expect you'll finance your share?
Well, if we take Galore Creek as the first one up, in the next couple of years, we'll be focusing on looking at leveraging our copper, leveraging our silver. There's a silver stream out of this project that in today's market I think is probably worth over $500 million. NovaGold share. So I think a company like a Silver Wheaton or one of the royalty companies would be very keen on that. We can certainly leverage the copper. We have a non-core asset called Ambler that we're spinning out into a new company called Nova Copper. That company, I think, has the potential to have a spin out at roughly a $300 million market cap, and with the story we can put together there, I think we can make that into a $1 billion company in the next couple of years. Copper is, of course, as you know, on fire, so that we think that's a good way to realize value back into NovaGold to help fund the project at the funding of construction of Galore Creek. So we're thinking a lot about the capitalization of this, the big projects, and we've got time. We don't have to do that today or
Right.
tomorrow. We've got several years before we have to put the money up. So.
Right. Do you think there's a chance that you'll be selling gold forward at Donlin Creek?
You always have to, when
Look
when
at
you're
all
getting involved with project financing, it's something you always have to take a look at. And
Yeah.
of course, it's the bank covenants usually come with those strings. So we want to avoid that because we certainly know our shareholders want the upside to gold. I mean, I think you know our list of shareholders. They're true gold believers. It's Electrum,
Yeah.
Soros, and Paulson. They're all strong believers in gold over the next 5 years. I think that's their time horizon.
Yeah, so they're going to want to see the upside for that gold if possible, no doubt about
That's
it.
correct.
Is there, what would you say to investors who buy your shares at these levels are the major risk that they're facing? Would it be metals prices or
Certainly metal prices
project
are
risk?
always the risk. Project execution risk, I think, is there, but I think when you have project partners like Barrick and Teck, you certainly minimize those.
Yeah.
We have low geopolitical risk. We're located in North America, both the United States and Canada. Good places to work, good stable governments. Alaska, British Columbia specifically are resource development provinces in the state. So I think overall, when you look at a company that has the potential to produce 1 million ounces of gold from 2 projects, low geopolitical risk, good partners, strong partners, we're in a good place. Strong metal market.
It certainly would seem that you are. Anything else you'd like to tell our viewers before we conclude our discussion?
I think when you're looking at gold, you can either buy gold bars, you can buy the ETF, or you can buy an equity. And I think you'll find if you look around that NovaGold is probably one of the best leveraged companies to gold. And then we have that extra copper and silver, so we'd be producing gold at a very, very, very low cash cost.
Very good. Rick, it's really a pleasure to meet up with you again.
Good seeing you again.
After that 9-cent share price many years ago, it's really been a success story. It's one that's really made me very happy to see your success. I wish you all the best 2011 and beyond.
Thanks. It's been a lot of fun as well.
Thank you very much, Rick.